Beerzerker!
Okay, so gonna do a fix-it video here. I got a couple fix-it videos to do because I break shit from time to time. Okay, so these are my eyeglasses, and they got stepped on, so I gotta glue this shit back together. And so I've done this before for a buddy and for myself for my glasses. You can take a pretty trashed pair of glasses. It's broken right there. And you can make it work again. Just have to have the right kind of glue, which I recommend epoxy. This is a 2-part epoxy for a construction grade epoxy. This is Jet Tack by Duo Fast, but you could even get 2-part epoxies from the dollar store that will do the trick actually. Most epoxies pretty much the same, so you're gonna need the epoxy, whatever type of dispenser. A lot of times they come in like a little syringe tube. Like the dollar store is a pretty good place to search it out. I got a piece of tinfoil here to mix it on, and some isopropyl alcohol to clean off all the epoxy off your lenses and your fingers, and a rag, and some fresh ground coffee. Yeah. So, first part is remove the applicator tip. This one has an applicator tip that mixes the epoxy. I don't use that because every time you use the tip, they're expensive for the tips, and then once the stuff's inside, you can't use the tip again. So I actually just put this on a piece of cardboard or whatever, and then mix it together with a piece of cardboard or whatever. Pencil works really nice. Try to avoid anything, except for the paint. You use it too long, it'll. Now, one half of this is blue and the other half is not. It's white epoxy. So what'll end up happening is when they mix together fully, they will both turn clear, and then you know it's mixed. And for this, we won't need very much at all. So I'm just going to put down a little dab here. Oh, that's tons. Now, with most of these, this one anyway, I have to take all that epoxy off here because you don't want it to mix again when you put the lid back on. So you're very carefully keeping both types of the solution, the hardener and the other part, separate and off the threads, because you don't. If that cap gets epoxied on, you're never going to get it off again. So then I put this on right away, making sure that the blue goes on the blue side, and then this is pretty good stuff. About 10-minute epoxy, and it's extremely powerful. That's what we want. Trying to save ourselves a couple $100 here for glasses for the time being. So there's the 2 parts there. I'm just going to mix these here while well, let's mix it epically. And stop by the channel if you like beer at all. So do all kinds of beers from all over the world and Canada. This one's from Belgium. Beer Here's Mork's Pumpernickel Porter. Did that one the other day, and that was a pretty banging beer. 7.5% alcohol by volume. Pretty serious stuff. Okay, so I got it all around this rim here, and where the break is in the frame against the other earpiece here. So I'm going to jam this lens in here very carefully. Then I'm going to put some isopropyl on the rag and clean everything off. And you could tape it with electrical tape or whatever, but I'm not going to because you never know what epoxy squishes out that you can't see in the tape. And then it'll dry and you pull the tape off and you'll discover you got epoxy all over your glasses lenses. And then good luck getting that off, right? So there it's in. So I'm just going to hold this here. Oh, nice. I'm actually going to put a little bit of a blob on the outside here. Just an extra bit of epoxy. You might be able to see it a little bit, but I'm more interested in functionality here. And isopropyl is really good stuff. A lot of people do similar stuff to what I do for work. We'll use acetone or paint thinner. And what ends up, you end up melting a lot of things with it. Isopropyl won't melt a lot of your materials that you're working with, whether they're plastic based or whatever. And this stuff evaporates instantly. So if you want to, let's say, put silicone next to a bathtub, this stuff you can silicone, it'll clean all the residue off, and a couple minutes later you are ready to silicone. It evaporates almost instantly, so that's why I like isopropyl so much, and it's dirt cheap. So make sure you got the 99% stuff. Just little things like that. I still see people using paint thinner all the time. And there's a lot of fumes, nasty fumes on it. So you got to really clean the living piss out of this stuff. So you get situated. Basically, you just got to pinch this stuff in place for about 5 minutes. And it's going to seem like, oh, I'm just making a huge mess, and you are. But just keep cleaning and just trying to hold everything together perfectly. It's a little bit tedious. Epoxy on those scratches. You can really see it. Anyway, so we're pretty much back together, so I'm just going to hold this, and it's a pain to try and do everything one-handed, but the problem with epoxy is you get resin all over your hands, and if I had the gloves, or would have been thinking I would have got rubber gloves, just took them off, put on new rubber gloves, and so anytime you get epoxy on your hands, you can just take off the gloves and start over again. Now my rag's kind of contaminated with epoxy, so I got to try and switch to a different part of the rag, one-handed. But this might save me, if I can pull this off, it'll save me a lot of money for a while. Well, and you got to order your glasses too, right? So if I went in today and ordered my glasses, I wouldn't have glasses for like 2 weeks. So at least this way, I can still see what the hell I'm doing. If I can pull this off, I'm really having a little bit of a tricky time with this today. Try to get everything clean here. And I'm just shooting the shit while I'm concentrating here. So, done quite a few beers. I'll do a lot of wines and hop reviews and homebrew stuff. And I'm trying to get into just a couple other things. I gotta fix my guitar, actually. I've never really put a mark on a guitar in my life. Except not one of mine. I have buddies. I put a nick in one of buddies, of course. Brand new guitar. But I broke the headstock clean off my Les Paul. And there wasn't a mark on it. The guitar it's a Epiphone. I don't normally like Epiphones, but it has a nice feel to it. It's a good guitar, so I bought it. It was really cheap. And I knocked it out of the stand. And Gibsons have the tilted headstock. And when they're in the stand like that, if they hit I mean, just the mahogany splits easy, really easy. So there goes the headstock. So I will be gluing that back together. I've done that before as well, and it worked out. It actually worked really well. So I'm kind of cheap, and I like to fix things if I can, even though they might not look 100%. But for me, it's like, can I see? Does the guitar work? You may notice that my guitars are horribly intonated. I'll be doing a video on that as well. I just haven't got around to doing that, and it bothers me maybe more than anyone else. But and I'll be doing a setup on this SG, which has a horrible back bow in the neck. It's an awesome guitar. It's a vintage. They're really cheap, so if you want a really good Gibson knockoff, which, well, they're better than Gibsons in my opinion now, and they got Wilkinson pickups. Like, these are super high gain pickups in here, and the one I just played. So awesome guitar, and you can get them brand new Les Paul copy for $700. So check out that website, Vintage Guitars. I highly recommend those. And basically what I did last time I did this, I just cleaned the lens the whole time it dried. Because, you know, it's one of those things, you don't want a dirty lens, so you're waiting anyway, you may as well just keep cleaning this sucker. And that's why this video might go on a little bit longer. I'm just going to do it all in one take. 12 minutes. Don't want to get too much in there. I want to run inside the... It's pretty simple, I guess. You know, it's not really rocket science or anything. So, yeah. Yeah, and that epoxy from the dollar store works pretty good. I've used it for lots of stuff. You know, I don't know what brand you have at your dollar store, but... Oh, shit. Let's fill it again. When I start doing some coffee reviews, I'm pretty picky about the coffee as well as the beer and the wine. So, well, you shouldn't have to spend more than $9 to get a real kick-ass bottle of wine. And there's just a few tricks. So if you're tired of buying wine that's the shits, leave a comment. I can reply and give you some pointers on that. Basically, anything from Chile that says Merlot on it is going to blow your mind. And South Africa is great. California is good too if you know which one. Like, that's a little bit trickier. New Zealand for your white wines. Spain is really good and cheap, and Italy. All those countries have a really good luck with, and Germany too. And Niagara in Ontario here. That's also, once in a while you can find a not bad wine from there. They're actually the more affordable wines in Canada as well, most of the time. Unless you're getting into their ice wines, which I don't really like sweet beverages, so I don't really drink ice wine. It's really good though. If you've never had ice wine, it's something that I recommend trying at least once or twice for sure. It's really expensive, but that's quite the experience. It's like the ultimate dessert wine. Not really, it's not heavy like the dessert wine. It's definitely sweet though. It's like a dessert on its own. It's like more like candy. It's like drinking candy. It's pretty cool. Okay. So just pinching those there. 15-minute video on how to fix your glasses. Whatever. Kind of tell here, see, this stuff's still liquidy here, so. But I am going to attempt to put another stronger dab right on the frame, because that seems to be the weak spot. The lenses, you don't need a whole lot. They don't, and that's kind of what pisses me off, is they don't put glue on between the frame and the lenses that I can tell on any of these. Like, if the frame breaks in any spot, your lens pops out. So kind of just a little bit pissed at all the shitty manufacturing of eyeglasses is a little bit ridiculous for what you have to pay for them. You buy sunglasses at the dollar store for $2. Then they just don't have they just have different lenses and they're probably stronger. So there's a little bit, not too noticeable. This is a Salt Spring Organic coffee. They're based off of Salt Spring Island, I believe, and next biggest island to Vancouver Island. Really good coffee. Picked up at Costco. They're starting to sell it now. Organic, fair trade, all that. It's a really good price. Anyway, I probably should have edited this video. Too late now. I still could. Most of the editing programs, you can only do a 5-minute video. Unless you want to buy their full version and yada 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 and dance around with all that shit. I don't. Yeah. And again, I always like simple stuff like the isopropyl. I can't say enough how awesome it is for just the simplest thing, just alcohol. You know, it's like I switched to cleaning everything in the house with vinegar, basically vinegar and a little bit of dish soap usually, and it works really well, especially for glass, your windows and stuff. Just all those household cleaners, they don't work as good, and there's all those toxins and shit in them, and vinegar, it's like dirt cheap. I have a vise here. If I would have been using my head, I'd clamp this sucker in a vise so I could see. But they're not really square, you know, these lenses aren't square, so you're only going to clamp in a certain 2 pinch points and then it's going to twist and pop out, so. A bit of residue on there. Should be able to wipe it off as it sets up and a little bit better with the lenses here. Yeah. I'm probably going to have to edit this. This is a little bit long, but you're wondering, this is 20 minutes so far. And it's still not quite set up enough. Gives me a good excuse to fuck around with the editor. Starting to feel like it's holding now. It's not wanting to spring open. And now the glasses really are, if this holds, they're back into position perfectly. Is like this morning when I found them, they're crumpled up. Like this whole thing was bent up and broken, and the lens was out, and I was like, oh no, you know, not this shit. Pretty crude. I'm gonna use my shirt because it's softer. I'll do a much better cleaning job. I should have went and got a better rag. But I don't know if I have many that are like these soft t-shirt rags are more ideal for this. I got that lens perfectly clean, so it's making me feel better. All right. $24 minutes and 14 seconds, and I saved myself $200 probably, and a trip to the store, and 2 weeks waiting. But I probably will have to order new glasses now these ones are broke. It's a good idea because to have more than one pair. Obviously, I don't know why I would even assume anyone was stupid enough not to know that, but I don't mean to. Beerzerker, look, I drink a lot of awesome beers. You got to check them out because everyone ought to drink a lot of awesome beers, and there's a lot of different styles and stuff, and it's a whole fucking art form, the brewing of this, and there's a lot of cool shit going on. A lot of new beers coming out every day. So stay updated, be in the community and stuff, and explore homebrew beer, and fix your own shit if you can. If you know, depending what it is, fuck. If you can pull it off, fucking do it. Fix your eyeglasses in 24 minutes. Beerzerker, and I'm out. Yeah.